Hey there, garden friends. Hope you're doing great. I'm going to be behind the camera for this video because I want to get some great shots. Today we're going to be talking about how I maintain the vertical succulent wall garden here. We built this several years ago. Really simple, really to build and to take care of. Actually, I always tell people this is probably my lowest maintenance garden that I take care of. Especially just so much easier than some of the stuff that we work on. From the weed pressure for how many weeds we get in this wall, to fertilizing and pruning and watering and everything in between, dealing with bad weather and whatnot. This wall right here, this is just a portion of it. It actually goes all the way around this shed. It's really simple to take care of. For those of you, I have other videos where I show how to build this wall. Maybe I'll put those in, I'll link those. But what's kind of cool, just to give you a quick rundown, we have a metal shed. We use pressure treated wood, made a frame. And then we have a PVC plastic that you can't see right here. It's basically just white PVC plastic sheets. They call it expanded foam, even though it's basically the same PVC you'd have in your hard pipe for your irrigation. That is behind that. And there's 2 layers of fabric, the synthetic felt that is attached to that. There's irrigation that runs all the way across the top here. Some of it are misters. A lot of it is actually drippers that you can't see that are actually on the inside there, hidden. Right in there, sorry. And so we have drippers, we got foggers, a little bit of both. They're on a solar powered timer. Lately, I actually haven't even been watering it just because we're right in the thick of winter. We've had plenty of rain. And even with all the frost and light freezing temperatures we've had and a ton of rain, storm after storm's been coming through. Look how healthy this wall is looking right here. It's just doing great. And so we're gonna get into a little bit how I like to fertilize. Like I said, for when it comes to weeding, you will see some weeds pop up. If I see some in this video, I'll show you. And then maybe I'll go around and show you the other side here because there's another wall there. But really simple, let's just get right into it. Now, the first thing I do this time of year, this is actually just a really good time of the year to get in here and do some general maintenance. Like I said, the weather isn't too bad. We're having, storm, and then we'll have some sun, then a little bit of rain, and then some sun. And it's still cool, it's pretty chilly, I got my jacket on, but things are warming up, so we're starting to see some growth, start to develop some new spring growth. And before things get too hot, what I like to do is, first things first, you can see a lot of the blossom spikes, all those flower spikes from last year, they're done. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get in here, and you can almost just deadhead them with your fingertips. Some of these dry ones, this is like a little dwarf jade, little crassula we got here, really pretty, gets that red tinged leaf. The blossoms are pretty cool too. And pretty soon as things warm up, you're gonna start to see a lot of growth develop, new leaves, new branches, and eventually some flower spikes will come out. But we wanna make room for all that. These ones are in the way. Like I said, you could use your fingers and deadhead. Sharp pair of scissors or shears works good. You can even use your old bypass pruners. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get through here and I'm gonna clean all of these up to make room for a bunch of new growth. And so that's the first thing I do. Before I even fertilize or any of that, I wanna remove any old dead, disease, damaged growth, branches that just aren't necessary, but it starts with those flower spikes. And so to give you an example, other varieties of plants have other spikes and they kind of hang down. You can see that that's where all the flowers used to be. And so we got to pull those out. Like I said, sometimes you can just quickly do it with your thumb and your finger, and it's as quick as anything else. Here, I'll show you. Just go plop. And I hope you're getting good images of them. I'm sorry, I'm not the best camera person here, but I'll try. And so I'm just gonna pop those off. And like I said, it really helps clean things up. Another thing you can look for too, especially with these succulents, is you're gonna see a lot of old leaf growth as well. Oh, let me see if I can get that in there. And so if that can come out, same thing, just use your hands and tickle it out. Oh, there you go, there's some weeds right there. So this is a good example. There's some little clover growing in there. Not the worst thing out here, kind of a seasonal one that we get. But just get it out, get it gone. It's in the way, it's gonna compete for moisture and nutrition and sunlight and all that. You can see a little bit of it hiding in here. So what's nice about this is the weeds, I'm not on the ground, I'm not on my knees, I'm just pulling them really gently. A lot of them aren't even rooted in that deeply because there's only so much soil to even hold on to. All these plants are planted in a little pocket of soil, probably no bigger than maybe the size of a baseball to the size of a softball. So like for those of you who don't know what that is, maybe like a grapefruit. From an orange to a grapefruit amount of soil, all of these plants are living on that. So it's important that we also get them some nutrition. So I'm gonna show you a couple different methods I like to use to actually bring nutrition to this wall. It's very important because if we just stop feeding them, they're just really gonna start to suffer, and then they're not gonna grow as much. We're not gonna get as much development in their leaves and new branching, and then of course the flowers will suffer later in the season. because there's just not enough plant there to fuel it. Like I mentioned earlier, here's a lot of old growth. You could just pull out. This will all go in the compost pile if you'd like it. It is just material you can get gone. So one other thing I want to show you that we've been doing is actually, before I started this video, these plants up here, you notice on the wall, some plants just grow so well compared to others. And they also have different growing characteristics. And so I've noticed some plants do really, really well on this wall. And this one right here, these bright yellowy orange ones, they're on fire. They love this wall. They just grow like crazy. And they push out from the wall to try to get sunlight. So what I've been doing, you can see the gap right here. These plants up here were covered all the way down to here. And I want these plants to also have a chance as well. And so what I did is I pruned back some of those. I kept them because we're gonna propagate those. So right now, not only is it a great time to clean up your succulents, whether they be in a container or a wall like this, or in the ground, right now is a great time to take cuttings, whether it's stem cuttings where you take an entire branch, plop, take that off, give it a few days, let that wet little end callus over, pop a couple leaves off, and then you got yourself a new transplant. I'll show you how we do that. Pretty simple, but what's nice is you saw the leaves pop off. Cool thing about these succulents is their leaves are also agents of propagation, agents of reproduction, I should say. So they are reproductive in nature, and so those leaves can actually be used. So if you want just one plant, you can do a stem cutting. Now, if you want many, go with a leaf route. It takes a little longer, but not that long. But then you can have multiple. However many healthy leaves you have, that's how many plants you can make. So it's really simple. You can see right here, the same thing. These ones were out overgrowing some of these ones, and so we had pruned them back a little bit to give these plants a little more space, a little more light. And I'm probably going to go in here and do it a little bit more. And yeah, the wall might look a little bit bare in some spots temporarily, but what it is if I don't, these plants are just going to overtake. These ones will just disappear, and then I'll have then later on I might have an even larger open spot on my wall. So we want it nice and full. We want it healthy and looking lived in. And so doing a little bit of pruning, not just of the old flower spikes, but just of super vigorous growers. So that way you can give, like same thing over here. These ones right here, it's beautiful donkey tail, these sedums. They were basically getting out competed by these ones right here. They're getting to the sun sooner. You can see they're pulling away from the wall a little further just because they're how they grow. So I want all these plants. I want as many different colors on this wall as possible. So prune them out as needed. Even healthy growth can get removed. But like for us, I don't like throwing it away. So most of it we'll try to keep and propagate. Whatever we don't keep, propagate, and give away, we'll just go right back to the compost pile. But most of it gets reutilized. So awesome time to take cuttings and propagate. If anything breaks off the wall, or you can see right there, these ones already have roots. So if you want new plants, just a fantastic time of the year. If you wait, midsummer for us, it gets really, really hot, extreme heat. So I don't want to wait that long. So for us, it's just very advantageous to get in here, take some cuttings. Like here's some other beautiful succulents that I'd love to take some cuttings of to just have more of. You can see other types of sedum and watch chain there and some elephant bush. So we're just trying to give space to each and all the plants. Here's some flower spikes, good example of that. So these ones are ones that will get removed as well off that beautiful one down there, that black prince. So we'll get all the flower spikes away, and then it's time. And like I said, the weeds are pretty minimal. I've already pulled a few out, but honestly, there weren't many. You can see one right here, an old spike of some clover, but it's pretty much dead. So you just pull that out, life's good. So I'm gonna get through here. I'm gonna prune up some of these plants, and then it's time to fertilize. Now here's a couple options that I like to utilize sometimes when I'm feeding the wall. Like I said, it's very important, even with these little succulents that aren't super huge, to keep them fed. They're in these little tiny pockets of soil. They're growing, they're here all year. Like I said, with minimal maintenance. It's good to keep them fed. The healthy plant usually resists disease and pests so much better than an unhealthy plant, one that's malnourished. So we want to nourish them. So here I got a few things. In the middle there, we'll start right here. This is an Osmocote. There's different brands and stuff. Not super important necessarily, but this is what I use oftentimes to feed some of our house plants. And it's a slow release granule fertilizer. Can feed up to 5-6 months as it just breaks down. So one way you could do it is you can get in here and literally kind of sprinkle it into these pockets, and you can kind of start at the top and kind of work your way around, and then that way you can make sure that every little pocket has some slow release fertilizer in there that's just going to slowly break down as the season goes on. So that's one option. However, and that worked really well when the wall was young and there was plenty of space to work around and you could actually see the soil where the plants were growing. Now it's a bit more mature. Probably the easier route for me is to actually fertilize it by like fertigating, by like fertilizing it, putting liquid nutrition into it as we irrigate. And so you can see right here what we have on one side. One brand does Alaska Fish Plant Food. So some fish emulsion, some sea kelp, both are really good. This one from Evie Stone is awesome. I love this one. They smell a little funky, so if it's indoors, probably not the best choice. But outside here, it'll just have a little fragrance for a day or two, and then it'll quickly go away. This is a 411, the other one's a 511. That's how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are in there. And so for us, this is a good one. You just gotta just blend it into water, and we'll mix it into a jug of water, and then I'll just pour it down the top all the way, nice and slowly, letting it absorb and drain down. You can even start at the bottom and work your way up if you want. But what's nice about this is that a lot of it will drain from top to bottom. And so sometimes it can be nice, like I said, if you want to work your way from the bottom up, so you're not dripping this stuff on you so much, you can do that. That way you can make sure that every little area gets it. You could put it in a sprayer if you wanted, but just a normal watering can's fine. And then you can literally just put it in there, find these little openings, and then fill those up with a little bit of that liquid fish emulsion with sea kelp. Tons of good nutrition in there, and that's one really easy way to get nutrition in there. Like I said, it's all going to drain down. You can do that as needed, once every 4 to 6 weeks, or depending upon what variety or brand you get, it'll give you instructions on how much to do it. But when it's properly diluted, because you don't want to just put straight up fish emulsion just straight on there, you want it blended in appropriately with water. You can even break it down and do less, and then do more fertilizing, where you can do it more frequently but have a lighter dose. Tons of options there. But really, I'm telling you, if you can actually, here you go, you can see all that stuff I did, all the work right before I started this. You can get all those blossoms are out of here. The weeds are gone. I'm gonna get some of this old growth away. And you know what, and even if you have like a little leaf blower, we have an electric powered one, I might come through here and do a light leaf blowing of this, and actually try to blow loose a lot of that old debris and dry material, stuff like this. So a little leaf blower action on here is actually going to be a very healthy thing, because if the more that we have that material gone, the more space there is for fresh growth, for airflow, and all that. So if you're growing and gardening, you know how important sunlight is to plants, and how important how important proper airflow is what I'm trying to say. So it's important. But that's it. Vertical wall gardens like this are really easy to do, especially when they're succulents. For us, like I said, it's one of our easiest gardens to take care of and maintain. And I think it's one of the most beautiful ones that we have. It gets better each and every year. It basically provides a never-ending supply of cuttings for us to sell, grow, give away, and all that. And it's just one of those things, you just gotta love it. It's just beautiful. I love it out here. But I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that wonderful nonsense. If you've been here this long, I really appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. Take care, everybody.